Hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sharing Your Journeys. I am back with Zach, and oh my God, I'm so excited for part two. Only because we kind of mentioned about it and we kind of put it on the back burner in part one about dating and relationships, especially being a hosiery wearer. So actually, I'm really excited about
Yeah.
today's episode. So without me kind of taking up all this time and all this space, Zach, let me give the floor to you. So delve in, tell me a bit more about this journey for you.
All right. So, like, if you remember, like the first time we talked, that I was pretty much like a closeted wearer until a couple years ago. So I
Mm-hmm.
kept it like in dating, like even like as a teenager, young adult. Like I'm almost 37 now. So like when I say young adult, like 20s, like right, like
Mm.
that age range, like 20 to 30. I kept it in the closet and I wouldn't tell any partners that I enjoyed wearing. Like I would always mention like,
Get you.
oh, would you wear, or how, like I would be like extra complimentary when like they would wear, like, oh, I love your legs, like to try to encourage them to wear more,
Get
right?
you.
And like that worked, like that was what it was, but like I never was fully honest and fully open of like being a hosiery wearer um
Yeah.
until my last I would say my last partner. Her and I actually got married, and we're subsequently going through a divorce for partially because of hosiery, but we can get into that in a little bit.
Mm.
But I was open with her, mindfully, as I've thought about like kind of like processing, going through therapy, and over the
Mm.
past year since our like separation, divorce proceedings. It's it's one of those things of I should have been open earlier, like sooner.
Mm.
I waited until after we got married, so like we were 3 years into a relationship before I made it like I made it a big deal, right? Um,
Right.
when it didn't need to be. Um, and so that I think contributed to I didn't give all the information. I wasn't upfront enough and didn't give all the information
Mm.
that was necessary for her to make an informed decision of, okay, do I really want to spend the rest of my life with this person? Um, and that's
I
on me.
hear
Like
that.
I own that, like that, and there were other mistakes I made, but not being upfront, I think, was detrimental because it's once we had that conversation, she knew I was into hosiery, right, into her wearing hosiery, but she wasn't fully aware of how much I needed it and how much I wanted to wear hosiery.
Yeah.
That she didn't have all the information to make an informed decision, and that wasn't fair. Um,
No, I hear that actually. And I think that's something that I hear a lot with like a lot of straight men who do wear and have been married. Um I can't really say the same for the people who are still married because I think obviously
yeah,
their tone and their thing is very, very different.
yes,
But I think it is a very I think it's very common, and I kind of don't want to make that I don't want to make your big thing small there. I just want to just sort of
yeah,
say I think the more I kind of hear that, the more I realize it's very, very common for that to kind of happen. Whereas I can imagine, obviously, like the way yourself or other people are feeling like, oh my God, this is like the biggest thing. I think a lot of it, and it's how I've said on previous episode, and I'm sure I've said it with you as well. It's that having that communication, especially when, hosiery is such a big part of you and plays
yes,
such a big part in your life. I think hiding that is just, oh my God, I used this good term the other day actually when I was talking to someone about wearing and speaking to it about their partner. And actually, it was a gay couple, to be fair. And bless them. It was quite sweet, but like, oh my God, like I didn't think it would be a big deal.
yeah,
But cutting a long story short, there, I think even he had a real trouble trying to tell his partner, I'm into this. And I'm like, instantly, and I'm not trying to sound horrible here or anything, but you wouldn't think that's an issue because you'd think, well, it's the gay community. Normally, everyone's quite open, and then
yeah,
you expect them to discuss a lot, but actually, they don't. And I think that was for him, that was a big thing. Whereas, but how do I say it? I don't know if I say it. What if I lose them? What about this? And I'm just like, and I think it's just that key element of communication, isn't it? I
Yes.
think in that. But yeah, that's wow. To me, it's still interesting. Even though I'm saying I hear it all the time, to me, it's still interesting. The fact that I suppose you just don't know how people go. I think that's the thing because there are some women who could be like, I can't believe you didn't tell me, but we can work through this.
Yeah.
And there are some where it's act. I won't say betrayal is quite a strong word, but it's that whole not lying, but I don't know what the exact word is that I'm trying to figure out. Oh my God, am I just thumbs
It's
upping myself?
it's
Just
like it's
realized.
to me it was like whenever I like because like we were in like couples therapy, right? And it wasn't
Mm,
we were in couples therapy to like kind of head like hit issues before they came became a bigger issue.
yeah, yeah.
And it was like it was supposed to be like a safe space for us to share
Mm,
things that like may be uncomfortable, right? And may be hard to discuss and hard to like open up. And so that's like where we had those conversations in like in that setting where it was like
yeah.
supposed to be a safe space. And she's also not here to like present her side story, so I'm not gonna like I don't want to
Yeah,
delve too
yeah,
much into it, but like
yeah,
because she is the mother of my child, and like I still respect her and love her for that. Like so like we're
yeah.
better we've come to the realization we're better co-parents and friends than we were romantic partners.
Oh wow.
So like and that's a weird road to navigate, but there were like some other
Mm,
things like when I told her that I was into hosiery, she was like she had the stereotypical questions like if you remember from part one, like I'm from the southern US, like I live in North
mm,
Carolina. Um it's very like conservative, traditional, like the Bible Belt, like the Bible Belt, quote unquote. So like we like there was the traditional questions: Are you gay? Are you trans? Are
yeah.
you like those questions? And I thought that those like to me in my eyes, I was like those are. I was offended by those questions, but then looking at it like since reflecting from her perspective and it being something that's very uncommon here, it's like, oh no, I understand. Like I may not agree with those questions, but I understand her perspective now. I
Mm,
see why
mm,
I see why she asked those questions because it is something very uncommon. It's something here that's you know traditionally viewed as like a women like women's clothing and like a women's undergarment. Like you can't just like
mm,
so I understand like those questions and why and her perspective on that. And like so she wasn't into it. She was okay with me wearing. She's like, but I don't want to like I don't want to participate,
mm,
etc. So this is where I made the mistake, and I own this. I sought out like online community for the external validation
mm.
and posted pictures and things and that I shouldn't have without her permission and her consent. Now she was not involved. I will say that she like there was no cheating. I didn't post pictures
Yeah,
of
yeah.
her or anything. It was all me. It was all me and my body and things. But when you're in a marriage and you do those things, like your partner is your partner, right? So
Mm,
I view that like, and she viewed that as like you're my partner, you're my person, and I viewed her the same way. And so, did I break that trust? Yes. So that like that's why we eventually decided like she decided she didn't want to be married anymore. So hosiery was a factor in that. But there are
mm.
other underlying issues and there's some other things we just we just won't talk about.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I hear that. I hear that.
but like since that relationship, right? Moving on like back into dating, it's like given me a new perspective of like okay I'm not gonna wait 3 years into a relationship to tell someone. Like now, it's like
Mm,
I met like if I meet someone on Tinder, um, it's a conversation that we have because like it's I'd let people know, hey, I'm a single dad, like I have a kid, right? So I'm just honest, right? You're just honest at this point.
yeah.
And it's like if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't like it, then they don't like it. Like I told one lady, like we matched and we had dinner and I was like we were just having general conversation. She was like, so tell me more about like your like the pantyhose. And I told her and she was like, well, if you feel the need that like if you want to wear them like in private, that's fine. She's like, but if you like feel like the need or desire to like wear them publicly, she's like, I don't know if I can handle that. She's like, I don't know if I
Mm,
can handle the judgment and the looks from other people. And
Wow.
I thought that was very fair and respectful of like, hey, we had this conversation early.
Mm,
And is that something that like does it matter to me that I need to wear it publicly? No, I don't have to, but do I want to be with someone that I have that freedom and that ability with? Yes. And so it was
yeah.
like cool. It was like we had dinner and it was like great. Like this obviously isn't like you're not the person for me. And like and it was okay. And it was like we had that mutual understand like we just had the conversation, right? And the
Mm,
communication. That was the biggest thing that I've come to learn recently is like communication. Just communicate it and like, hey, this is a need, not necessarily a want. Like I don't know the
yeah.
level of that need, but it is a need. And so it's like it's been a good like reflective journey of like, okay, learning how to express not only my wants and desires, but finding someone that is okay with those and is okay exploring those and sharing those things.
Yeah. No, I hear that. And I will say, well done actually for bringing it up so early because I can only imagine how daunting it can feel to be like it's like ripping off the band-aid, isn't it? It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, we need to just get this out the way with. But it can be such a great liberating conversation at the same time to be like, oh my God, yeah, of course. Like, so I think that was a very brave, bold move, to be fair. And I'm glad, you probably didn't get the outcome that you kind of wanted, but I think it's just the fact that you could even ask that question
Yeah.
is a huge thing. And then to obviously have an open, honest conversation is another huge thing in itself. And I think I love that, the fact that that's happened for you. And because I always see things like if I was in that position and if I was in your shoes, I would take that to be, look, do you know what? I did that. Yes, okay, she might not have been my girlfriend or anything. I was like, but do you know what? I can take that moving forward. And it's just building up the confidence and courage, isn't it?
Yes.
To be like, well, actually, I can have more of these conversations with people I meet versus, oh my God, but how do I like, oh my God, how do I do it? What do I say? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a real not learning curve, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
I would
And so like
definitely say.
now like there's another person that I've like been on like as of when we're recording like we've been on a few dates and I like we're we're like moving towards that like dating phase, right? And I told her like and I had the same conversation with her like,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, why did you get like because it comes up like, oh, why'd you get divorced? Why are you separated? Et cetera, et cetera. And the divorce laws in the United States are asinine to say the least. But
Wow. Okay.
because every state is different. I don't know if you realize that. So it's like,
No, I always forget that.
yeah. So like the laws in North Carolina, for people that don't know, like in North Carolina, you have to be separated, legally separated, which means a separate address and home for a year
Wow.
before you can even apply to get divorced. But then in Tennessee, which is the neighboring
Oh,
state, you could be separated for 30 days. And then other states, if you don't have kids, it's a shorter time than if you do have kids. Like it's so crazy, and
wow.
it all depends on like what state you got married in and what state you reside. Like it's complicated.
Yeah.
But now that I'm like transitioning to dating someone, like dating a lady, like it's and I had the conversation with her, like, hey, like I'm into this, like that, like I enjoy, wearing tights, wearing pantyhose and stuff. And she was like, okay, cool, that's fine. And like I made a comment like weird. I forget what we are talking about, like, but somehow like we're talking about shorts, right? And I was like, oh, I got some
Yeah.
like I call them like hoochie daddy shorts, like they're like mid thigh, like kind of, you know, shorter shorts, right? And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. And so like I sent her a picture. Like she already knew that I like because I mentioned it early, like I did with the other person. Like I mentioned it early that I like to wear tights. So I sent her a picture of me in shorts with tights just to like test the
Mm.
waters, right? Like, and this
Mm.
was after we'd already been on a date, so like we'd already had interaction. It's like I sent that picture, and she's like, "Oh, you look great," blah blah blah. And then like a few minutes later, she's like, "Are you wearing pantyhose?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Your legs look amazing," and like blah blah blah. So it's like it,
Yeah.
and she's like completely okay with it. Like I wore a pair in front, like in front of her. Like she's like, "Hey, can you like next time we go out?" Like she's like, "Why don't you wear that same outfit?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So like I wore that outfit, and she loved it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things of like just being like if I hadn't been honest and open, right, and like and been honest with that communication, I wouldn't have had that great interaction. We wouldn't be progressing towards a dating relationship. And then like, and her being like into it, be like, oh wow, you look great. Like that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and her like being genuinely excited and, like just being open and honest. That's the best thing I can say. Just like be open and honest.
You know what? I absolutely love that for you. Honestly, I'm just sitting here like, I'm so glad you've met someone and going through that amazing dating experience anyway, generally. It's always a fun
Yeah.
journey. But, the fact that she accepts you for who you are, as you are, however you are, kind of thing. And it's really nice to hear that because I think this is the thing. I hear a lot of heartbreaking stories and I hear a lot of like not negative, but it's always like, oh man, I really wish you meet the right person. It's always that. And it's just nice to
Yeah.
just to hear something really refreshing to be like, actually, I'm on this really great dating journey and I found somebody, who basically accepts me. And it's just like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
absolutely love this for you. Honestly, I'm keeping all my fingers crossed and touching wood that it continues. And
Me too.
I don't want nothing jinxing this. But no, it's honestly it's so nice to hear. And I think it's just reiterating the fact that like communicating that at the beginning can help
Yes.
because it's for a lot of people it can be a make or break thing. And I think it's like how I said, especially if it's something so important to you and is technically a part of you, it's a bit like, well, yeah, why would you hide that? And
Yes.
and like how we sort of said, it can be very daunting, it can be very scary, and the whole initial rejection and everything. I can understand how horrible that process can be.
Oh
But I
yeah, it
think
is.
I think it's just the more I think the more you keep yourself authentic, the more that kind of comes through. And I totally, yeah. I love that. I totally love that. And I'm so honestly I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you, Zach. Honestly, I really want you to keep me updated on this journey now.
I will. And like it's one of those things of like we talked about, it's like I told you in part one, like my like the best piece of advice I have is like the worst thing anyone will ever tell you is no. Right? Like
Mm,
and if you have that in your mind, like the worst thing anyone could ever tell me is no, then the worst thing they can tell you is no. Like if someone's not into
yeah.
it, like that one experience I had, like she wasn't into it. It's like, okay, great. Like this was
Mm,
fun. Like, you know, I enjoyed dinner, I enjoyed the conversation, but you're not the person for me then. And that's okay. Like
yeah.
I would rather find that out after one date than be 3 years into something and then it be a deal
Yep.
breaker. Right. And then it's like, and
Yeah.
then and then at that point, you're like weighing the options of like, okay, is this, how much of a need is this versus I've got 3 years invested with this person. Now I'm 40 years old or,
Mm,
however old, and I want to have kids or I want to have more kids. Like that, you start weighing those things and then it becomes a heavier, bigger decision almost than it needs to be. Um,
yeah.
and that, like that's what I've like come to realize. It's like, okay, the earlier I say it, the less of a deal it is. And if
Mm,
it is a big deal to that person, then we just move on, shake hands, we have a great dinner, have a couple of drinks, and it's like, hey, we had a fun night out, and we go to the next, like, I don't want to say like go to the next, like it's like a, but you understand what I mean? Like it's,
mm.
we just, you move on to whatever possibility is next.
Yeah. No, I hear that 100%. I did want to ask you, Zach, and you don't
Yeah.
have to respond if you don't want
Yes.
to respond to it. But obviously, because you mentioned like you have a kid,
Yes.
and I know a couple of people who do have kids, and now obviously wear hosiery in front of them. Kids are becoming a bit more accepting. Some maybe not so much. Everyone has their own different journeys. What's it like? What's that like for you? Like, does your kid know the fact that you wear? Is that something that you don't want to kind of mention yet? Like, what's that like for you?
Um, it's complicated, right? Um,
Mm,
it's complicated for me in my specific situation because of why me and my child's mother are getting divorced. Right? Like
mm,
hosiery does play a part in our divorce. Um, so does has my child seen me wear like tights in the past? Yes. Do I make
mm,
it a big deal? No. Do I like I encourage her to like if she wants to like whatever she wants to wear, she can wear, right? Like if she wants to wear a dress, wear the dress. If she wants to wear pants, wear shorts, wear the clothes. Like and that's how I tell like that's what I tell her and teach her is like this shirt I'm wearing now is like a purplish kind of color, right? Like so like colors aren't specific for a
Mm,
certain gender or
yeah.
shorts or pants aren't specific for boys or like if we're shopping and you see the dinosaur shirt and you like dinosaurs you can buy that you don't have to not wear a dinosaur shirt because you're a girl you don't have to wear pink now she loves pink but
Yeah.
like like that's how I approach it is like you wear whatever clothes make you happy and
Mm,
I don't I don't like she knows that I've worn tights but she also knows that just clothes are clothes, right? Like that's how
yeah,
we
get
approach things
you.
in general. Um, like boots or shoes or what like whatever it is, like clothes are clothes. So
Mm,
it's not really you would like that's how I present it. So do I like wear tights with shorts around her like when we're going out in public and places? No, not really. Not a lot. I have, but not a lot. And it's not for any like specific reason other than like some of the divorce stuff is a little complicated. But
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I'm teaching her that clothes are just clothes.
Mm. I really like that. And I think you are right in the sense of if it's a dinosaur t-shirt and it's blue, you can still wear it. It
Yes.
doesn't matter kind of thing. And I love the fact that you're practicing that now earlier on so it isn't, it doesn't become that whole gender thing where it's, oh, well, girls are pink and, boys are blue kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, I think it makes such a big difference because you're exactly right. It's clothes are clothes. It doesn't matter. At the end, it shouldn't matter, I should
Yes.
say. Even though I get that to some people it does, and that's cool. But I think especially when it comes to like, for instance, your situation as an example, like I would do exactly what you're doing. I would definitely be like, oh, where in front, where not in front. It doesn't really matter, but it's kind of like teaching your child that look, you don't need to have a gender to stuff kind of
Correct.
thing. Like, yes, okay, some people might dress like that and that's fine, that's them. But you can just dress how you feel comfortable, what makes you
Yes.
happy at the end of the day. So I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice to hear actually.
Yeah. And
Just I
it's
don't want no one coming at us, by the way,
oh
for this. It's just a nice, honest, open
yeah.
conversation.
And it's one of those things like I like and I don't encourage a specific like you have to wear pink or you have to wear purple, you have to wear
Mm,
dresses, you have to wear blue or you have to wear dinosaurs. Like I don't encourage like I
mm.
just I know like it's funny as much as the freedom as she has to wear whatever she wants to wear. She 9 times out of 10 picks the sparkliest, pinkest,
Oh,
stereotypically
love.
girliest outfit, and I love it. Right, like I love it, and but she doesn't like. I don't encourage it. I don't discourage it. It's like, hey,
Mm,
you wear what you want to wear. Like we go in her dresser in the morning and like, okay, what clothes do you want to wear to school today? I want to wear my pink
yeah.
pants, Daddy. So we pull out the pink pants and then we find a shirt. Like, so giving her that freedom, and I encourage
Mm,
all parents to do this, like, give your child the freedom to pick what they want to wear, right? Like, and there's certain things that I don't let her wear, and it's not
mm.
because I don't want her to wear them. It's for practicality. Like, you're not going to wear a winter coat in the summertime, kind of thing,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like it's those kind of things. So it's like, no, honey, it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. We're not going to wear your Elsa sweatshirt today. Like things like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't if she wants to wear boots and shorts and wear her rain boots and wear shorts, I don't care. Like she's 3. She's a
Mm,
kid. She's going to get them dirty. Who cares? Like she's
yeah.
just going to run around and play. Like what's the big deal of how it looks, right? Like who
Mm.
cares?
No, I 100% agree with that. And I think I mean, I've had this conversation with somebody the other day actually, and they're very obviously not going to name names or anything, but it's someone who
Yeah.
I met at an event, and they're quite anti-LGBTQIA plus and
Mm.
everything. And when we kind of mentioned about, oh, how this, because they're on about like some schools obviously now have sort of gender neutral toilets
Yes.
and and obviously some not practicing, but they're being very more open towards kids kind of doing, I say doing as they please like this because that's how they kind of put it.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, at the end of the day, I believe a child should be able to go through what they want to go through because you know what, it shapes them as a person because they
Yes.
know growing up what I was allowed to do, what I wasn't allowed to do. They'll
Mhm.
always remember what I definitely wasn't allowed to do. And I'm not saying that they're going to hold that as a grudge for the rest of their life, but it's things like that where I just feel it's okay to let them toy around with things, experiment with different things, and just say like I even said like, so look, do you have kids? They're like, yeah, I've got two boys, and I'm like, well, what would you say if one of your boys wanted to try on a skirt? I'd be like, she was like, oh no, 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 hell no, and I'm just like, but have you questioned why? Why don't you ask your child why? Why do you fancy wearing a skirt today? If you can't fathom it, why don't you ask that child? And it was, and even then they were just like, I don't know what to say to that. And I'm like, well, yes, exactly. And I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's getting an understanding of your kid. Like, prime example, it's everyone thinks I'm such a girly girl. I'm like, I'm not though. I was like, I never like I used to be growing up, but then I went through a tomboy phase. I would dress like a boy all the time. I went
Yeah.
through a punk phase. I went through a goth phase. I went through so many different phases, but I'm so glad that my parents were, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had so much backlash half the time, but I'm so glad the fact that my parents were accepting to some degree
Yeah.
to allow me to do that because it was just self-expression. It was just whatever I was going through. It was, now I always say to people, I dress on my mood. I literally dress on my mood. However I'm feeling, I will be dressing like that to represent that day. And I always have done ever since. And it's just a freedom of expression, isn't it? And I think I understand with some parents, no, but I don't want my kids doing this because I don't want them to get the notion of, oh, wearing skirts, then, oh, I want to be, I want to be a girl when I'm older. It's not that. It's just, I think it's finding out why they want to do certain things. It helps you get like a better understanding. I mean, I can't, I don't have kids, but I just assume like that's what
Yeah.
I would do if I had kids. Would be like, look, yeah, you can do what you like, but if there's something okay, I'm a bit unsure of, which is it can be very, very odd for me because I'm very open-minded. But I would question that to be like, okay, tell like, why do you fancy wearing that? Or what have you seen?
Yeah.
Or blah blah blah. And there you go. So it's
Yeah. And
interesting, very, very interesting.
it's like it's one of those things like I look like you parent and you try to be a better parent than your parents were is how
Mm,
I like I because I want my
mm,
kids I want my child to be when she's an adult I want her to be in a better place than me,
mm.
right? Like that's like for me that's my goal as a parent is that she's in a better place, like a better person than I am. Like
Yeah,
I think that's every parent's goal. Like you want your kid to do
yeah.
better than you did. You want your kid to succeed, whatever success is, right? Like there's a stereotypical mindset of what we have for success. But I like whatever success looks like for her, I want her to succeed. And
Mm,
so like I look back at my childhood and it's like, okay, I was a very texture sensitive person. I was with certain things, right? And I had a very normal childhood, but it was like I love the texture of tights and pantyhose. Like,
yeah.
but I also grew up in a time in a place where I wasn't allowed to like express that or even given the freedom to even try to like explore that, right? Like that was all done in like I did
Mm,
all that in secret. um and so now like looking at my like having my child and raising her, it's like okay, if you want to wear something, who cares, right? It's just clothes. So
yeah.
and like and we go to like we'll go to the store and look at clothes and kids are like she grows so quick, so it's like I feel like I'm buying new clothes every time we go to the store.
Hmm.
So it's like, hey, do you like this? No, I don't like that. It's not pink. It's not this. It's not that. It's like okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then she'll feel it and see, okay, that's soft. I like that or I don't like that. Like
Mm,
that's all her learning that everything's
yeah.
okay and giving her the freedom to explore clothes in the way that I wasn't given that freedom, right?
Mm,
So that's how the success looks for me and her right now is like she's given the freedom that I didn't have as a kid, right?
mm.
Now that
I
doesn't
hear
mean that
that.
she's going to be into whatever, right? Like things are going to change in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years,
Mm,
but you lay the foundation for her to set up like to be better. So
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. No, it was honestly, Zach, it was really nice catching up. I'm just thinking, oh my God, we're going to come to time soon. But it was really good catching up. And thank you. I just want to say a huge thank you for sharing that insight
Yeah.
today. It's just really nice to hear the fact that just the whole process of things. And it's like I said, as much as I've kind of heard a very similar story, it's just nice hearing it from someone else because everybody has a different viewpoint and everyone has a different perception about things. And I think it's just nice to still be like, okay, yeah, look, well, this happened, but actually something great has come out of it as well. So
Exactly.
it's honestly, it's incredible. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank
You're
you so much
welcome.
for sharing. And if anybody would like a part three, we're always open for a part three. I always love doing my little parters. They're always fun. But if anyone does have any questions, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me or Zach. Or you can just drop them off in the comments wherever, because I'm going to be posting this everywhere. So just wherever you like. Um, and then yeah, let us know if you want a part three because I'm sure it'll be fun and we can always discuss a different topic.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but for now, I'm gonna love you and leave you, Zach. And thank you so much for your episode today. Honestly, it's been amazing. It's honestly been amazing to hear from you and just
You're
hearing this
welcome.
amazing part of your journey. So,
Yeah. It's fun catching up with you. I enjoy our conversations. So
oh, me too.
a
Oh,
lot of fun.
likewise, me too. But for now, my love, take care. Mwah. And I
All right.
will see you soon.
All right. Bye.